With this module, we will bring the first part of the Sikha to a conclusion, but before doing so, a look at footnote 12, commenting on the Rebbe's thesis that the lakoach is a makor word that takes the format of a command. At the time of the Sikha presentation, the Rebbe provided us with two options from the many that were available in which the haloch is used as a makor. The first of those options, one referred to earlier, was Shmuel Bet 24:12 regarding David HaMelech, in which the prophet is told to haloch v'dibarta el David. The translation of the haloch in its makor format is a command to go. In this way the Rebbe justified the sequence, first a pasuk from Shemot, second from Devarim, and the third from Sefer Shmuel. A little known addition, which in all probability went unnoticed by most, was a second example of the word haloch in its makor format taking the form of a command, in which God tells YIRMIYAHU, haloch v'karata ba'oznei Yerushalayim, go, proclaim to the people of Yerushalayim the following. Footnote 12 alerts us to two challenges that can be raised to the Rebbe's selection of these two pasukim. The second of those challenges, one that is more obvious, is why there is a need for a second example. This of course is not a challenge to Rashi, as he does not point to the actual source for haloch as a makor, but rather the challenge is to the Rebbe himself in providing not one but two examples. Hence the question why there's a need for a second example. A search for the haloch in its makor format delivers 36 instances, 4 of them to be found in Sefer Bereshit, the remaining 32 from Sifrei Nevi'im, except for one instance drawn from Sefer Tehillim. Which brings us to the first question: why did the Rebbe use Shmuel 2:24:12 as the reference of Rashi to haloch as an example for a makor/command? In the words of the footnote, and keeping in mind that the footnotes were not necessarily authored by the Rebbe, but were submitted to him for approval, hatam, the reason, shehuva behahitvadoot, why, at the actual farbrengen of the Rebbe, in which he analyzed the Rashi, or bifnim, hasikha, and in the written version of the Rebbe's Dvar Torah, in the actual printed sikha, befeirush beit pasukim, where the Rebbe provided two pasukim, that is, the pasuk from Shmuel and the pasuk from Yirmiyahu, can be explained as follows. With respect to the first question, why Shmuel Bet 24:12 was selected as an example by the Rebbe when there are 14 usages of the word haloch in a makor format recorded prior to Shmuel 2:24:12, the author of the footnote writes, Ki bo ne'emar haloch b'pam harishona. This is the first instance in which haloch as a makor is found be'inyan tzivui, that translates as a command. You do have the haloch makor format in many other locations, but as noted earlier, the makor, like a stem cell, can be expressed in different formats of speech: present, future, past. We are looking for a makor as a command, and the very first time that we have a makor/command is Shmuel 2:24:12. Yirmiyahu was told by God to halach v'karata ba'ozni Yerushalayim, go, proclaim to the people of Yerushalayim that Ko Amar Hashem, Zacharti lach chesed yorayich, I remember on your behalf the devotion of your youth, ahavat kilulotayich, the love of your bridal days, metaphorically the relationship between God and Bnei Yisrael at Har Sinai, lechtech acharei b'midbar, how you followed me into the midbar, into the wilderness, into Be'eretz lo zarua, a land that was uncultivated. This proclamation from God to the people through the prophet Yirmiyahu has been incorporated into the nusach of the Musaf for Rosh Hashanah. It is one of the selections that form the 10 references of psukim dealing with the zichronot, and the explanation suggested by the writers of the footnote is that this pasuk had been included by the Rebbe at the Farbrengen in order to lahazkir zechutan shel Yisrael, to mention at the time, while discussing the topic of haloch, to throw in a statement, possibly a request, highlighting the zechut of Yisrael's commitment to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Sikha was presented at the Hitva'adut of Parashat Vayelech. Parashat Vayelech is read always, either the week prior to Rosh Hashanah, and if not then, in the Aseret Yemei Teshuvah. And as suggested by the footnote, the Rebbe wished to call forth the zechut of the Bnei Israel at this time by linking a second option for the haloch as a makor/command to a pasuk that has been included into the nusach of Rosh Hashanah, namely YIRMIYAHU 2:2.